What's going on, everybody? It's Tim, but of course, today I'm going to show you two brand new products from PRV Audio. First, we have the new 2.4X BT Bluetooth DSP, and we have here the new wireless remote control that works up to 1,500 feet away. That's like over a quarter mile. So these two products have two completely different jobs. Obviously, the DSP lets you tune your system, but now you can do that from the comfort of your phone, standing back behind your stunt wall, behind your custom doors. And the remote control allows you to control the volume, pause, play, and change the track while you're way back there as well. I have made videos in the past showing the 2.4X, a 2.8X DSP, but this does have quite a few features that those DSPs didn't have. So I'm definitely going to touch on all those subjects, and I'm going to show you what all this stuff does. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that this DSP does. We're going to cover all that right now. So I got a couple of the DSPs here, but this is my first time opening and actually hooking this thing up and using it. I haven't used it yet. I did take the tape off of this one. I have 3 here, just to look at it. But I'm gonna open it and we're gonna connect it. We got a nice sticker. Here's the user manual that nobody reads. If you scan the QR code, you can go ahead and download the app to control this DSP. Everything that this DSP does, it is explained here in this book, okay? So just read through it, take a look. There's the flow chart, lets you know how to get to things. It is a very good resource. You'll learn a lot just by reading this book, okay? So we're gonna skip that so the video is not so long. Let's get this out of the plastic. We're gonna get to this little connector in a minute. So here it is, a DSP 2.4X BT Bluetooth digital signal processor. Everyone calls it a digital sound processor. You can call it whatever you want, but whatever you call it, it's going to do the same thing. Now, big thing here is this is Bluetooth control from your cell phone. So you cannot just connect your cell phone to this like you would a radio and expect this to play music. You still need a source, okay? You still need some kind of source. If you want to connect your phone directly to this, buy a Bluetooth module, plug it straight into here, and you can skip a radio, okay? But I do recommend a radio. So one big thing this has that the old 2.4X doesn't have is a high-level input. That's what this connector here is for. So that is for connecting to your factory radio. So that's pretty awesome. The old one didn't have that. You can see the antenna on the top. That's for the Bluetooth signal. It does have the remote sequencer like the other DSPs have. Remote in, ground, 12 volts. So you can still use this like a regular DSP, which is good because the Timpano Bluetooth DSP, you weren't able to do that. You had to use your phone. But this has a regular menu, just like the regular 2.4X has. This is a 4-channel. These channels are not individually programmable that I already explained in my previous videos. You can only program each button, okay? So if you want left and right separation, let's say you have a 2-way system, speakers and tweeters, you're gonna have left tweeters, right tweeters, left speakers, right speakers. You don't need to connect both of these here. Let's say you're doing left and right, you can just connect one of them and one to the other one, okay? You don't have to connect all these. You'll see in a lot of my videos where I have one connected here, one connected here, one here, and people don't understand that. But that is how you do left and right, and then using the routing feature, which I have another video explaining that, so I'm not gonna go in too in-depth in that. Let's get this connected to some power. I have a radio right over there, and we're gonna connect this to power and ground, connect the RCAs, and then we're going to turn it on. This is my trusty, rusty Kenwood BT322. You've probably seen this in some of my other videos. I used to use this a lot. This radio was in my Civic. It was in white noise in the beginning in the dashboard. But now it's been hanging around the shop. I recently found it again, and we're gonna use it for this video. So right here I have power and ground and remote. Just kind of tapped into the radio. So you can see remote in on the left, ground in the middle, and 12 volts on the right. So we're going to connect this. I'm not going to demonstrate the sequencer. Basically, when you turn this unit on, it gives 12 volts to these outputs, and you can connect them to amplifiers. So like if you have doors and stunt walls or outside speakers, you can put each bank of amplifiers on each of these outputs, and then in the menu you can turn it on and off. And then I'll show you too on the app, you can also turn them on and off on the app, so that's good. So let's go ahead and connect these RCAs. So obviously you need a RCA coming from the front or rear of your radio. You do not want to connect to your subwoofer output. You need a full range signal here for this DSP to work properly. And then, like I said, you really only need one to connect for each output. Unless you're using a 2-channel amp, you can connect both. If you're using a 4-channel, you can obviously connect both as well. For testing purposes, I always have a mono amp here that I'm using 1 channel. You only need 1 RCA with that. So as you can see now, it turned on. You got English, Portuguese, and Spanish. We're gonna go to English. So let's just quickly look in here. And there's the sequencer I was talking about. So you can time it, how much time is in between them. And then on and off is where you can turn them on and off, as you can see there. By pressing the button, the hotkey, it automatically takes you into the audio processing. I'm not going to go through all this right now. We're going to do that on the application on the phone, because that's what this is all about, right? It's doing it on your phone wirelessly through Bluetooth. So let's take a look at that. Just open up your Play Store, search for PRV DSP. It'll come right up. Mine's already installed, so I'm just going to open it. As you can see, it finds the DSP pretty quick. On the right hand side, you can see on the middle, that's where you're going to look for devices. On the top, you can hit the demo mode. On the bottom has information. So we're just going to hit connect. On the main screen, you can see our 4 output channels, which is right here. And you have master volume. You can mute and unmute the channels. This is good for when you're testing individual components or even tuning. You can turn some off so you hear what you want to hear at one time. On the bottom, you have input routing, A and B. You can receive a left input, right input, or a combination of both depending on how the system is installed. This should always be checked first because none of the other settings matter if your output is receiving the wrong signal. We're going to jump over to crossover. Crossover section controls the frequency range of each speaker, all right? The high pass filter removes frequencies below the selected point, which you can see here. You can adjust it. We can prevent a mid-range speaker from trying to reproduce deep bass or prevent a compression driver from playing frequencies that are too low for it as well. We can also select the filter type and the slope. So on this DSP it has BT, LR, and a new one which is BS, which we can go ahead and choose one of these. If we get rid of these outputs here on the left, you can choose which one you want to see. And then we're on output 1. So if you just change this, you can see how it moves. You see the huge difference between LR12, LR48. So you have different filters there. The proper crossover settings really help protect your equipment, but also determines how smooth your speakers blend together. So you have output 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the biggest thing with the crossover on this DSP is the presets. So you can see there's a whole bunch of preloaded presets. So we'll start with the low frequency. Say you got a 10-inch mid bass on output 1. Output 2, let's say you have a, right there, phenolic driver 4500. Output 3, you have a tweeter, TW700 Ti. So everything is preloaded. It's very good for people who are just starting out. Maybe you don't really know where to start. There you go. There you can see the 10-inch phenolic driver, tweeter. But again, this is just to get you started. It will prevent you from damaging your equipment, but as you can see the huge overlap here, it's not a great tune. It will get you playing, but this isn't going to get you sounding good. This is going to be muddy and shouty. There's a lot of overlap here in the middle. The parametric EQ is for each channel. Each output has its own parametric equalizer. This allows you to correct specific frequency problems on one particular speaker, okay? So if you have something that has a spike in the frequency response, you can cut it down. If you're a competitor and you're trying to just put your system on kill, you can boost certain frequencies. The gain determines how much we boost or cut it here. The Q determines how wide or narrow the adjustment will be. So as you can see, the lower Q affects a wider range of frequencies, while the higher Q creates a narrow, more targeted adjustment based on what you're trying to do. This gives us a lot more control, okay? And you also have on this DSP 2 different frequencies you can choose for each output, which previously you only had one. Going into audio settings, we do have some stuff repeated here from the main page, but we have graphic EQ. And this is a more broad control at fixed frequency bands. So you have 10 bands on here. And, this is just to balance out the system. I wouldn't just start boosting stuff randomly. It's more like cutting things. I mostly, when I'm tuning, I'll boost on higher frequencies to give you a little more brightness. But most of the time, I'm cutting stuff down to get rid of muddiness and stuff like that. Depending on the equipment I have, it really depends on what you have together. Nobody can tell you where to set this. This, you have independent level control. This is what you need to use when you're balancing your system so everything plays together and you don't have nothing overpowering the other. You can also mute it from here like the main page, and you have the master volume. And you can mute all right here by hitting this master button. The limiter, each output also has a limiter. So you can see output 1 through 4. And a properly configured limiter can control basically how much signal you're sending to your amplifier. It is a little complicated, so I'm not going to get into it on this video, but you can use the auto. Just be careful, because if you set this negative too high, you're going to just kill the output of the speaker. And if you don't set it high enough or low enough, I guess, you're not going to have enough protection either. So this is something that is maybe one day I'll do a video on, but not anytime soon. Delay is good for if you're inside the vehicle. You can delay the driver's side, front speaker or whatever, so that you are not hearing that faster than the other side. Audiophiles will appreciate that. But you can also use this on the stunt wall, and I do have a video explaining that in depth on my channel, so check that out. Phase, everybody knows. Maybe you wired something wrong, maybe you have cancellation issues. This can help see that. Right on the main page also, you have the sequencer on and off. You have at the top input clip indicator. This will let you know that your input is saturated or not. Right here on the top right, you can choose different graphic equalizers. In the settings, you have copy channels, which you can tune one and copy it to the other. Let's say you have tweeters on 1 and 2 and speakers on 3 and 4, you can copy them. And the channel link basically does the same thing. You can link one output to another so that you don't have to tune it or even copy it. You got an audio tone generator here. Frequency sweep. This is good for seeing if you have dead spots in your sound. Here's a sequencer again, where you can change the timing as well. And one of my favorite features is a save and load feature. This allows you to save and load tuning profiles. So you can select storage, you can save it right on the processor, which gives you 3 different ones. So as you can see, I have some set up here: loudness, clarity. You can do a battle tune, and you can save and load them on the fly. But you can also save and load them onto and from your phone, which I believe is unlimited. So now you can save your tuning profile to your phone. You can send it to your friend on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, on email. if you want to buy a remote tune from me and you have this sound processor, I can now tune your car, save it, and send you the file, and you can just load it on here without thinking or navigating through any of the menus. All right, let's check out the long distance remote control. This is some of the colors. So I have blue, black, white, and red here. This is the PRV remote control, long distance remote control, okay? So one thing I want to tell you that this is rechargeable. So you don't have to change batteries, which it says right there at the top. You will never need to replace its battery. Let's get this open, take a look. Okay, so you scan it and it will take you to the manual. All right. You have the controller with this nice silicone sleeve over it. Let's pop this out and just take a look. They're all black, and you can personalize with your favorite color. So there's a charging port. It's USB-C, super convenient. Everybody uses USB-C these days, so that's good to see. We have a PRV lanyard. Let's open this up. This is different from all the other lanyards, so this is an exclusive lanyard that comes with the remote. So this is good for hanging around your neck, hanging over your rearview mirror. Then we have the receiver transmitter. So this is the antenna that will receive the signal. And then this is the transmitter that will send signal to the radio. So this has to be in clear view of the front of your radio, all right? It's very simple to install. It has positive and negative, and we're gonna install this right now. We're just gonna connect it to the DSP. All right, now that we have that connected and the infrared sensor is pointing at the radio, turn this on. This should already be charged up. You can see the light flashing. And if you look over here, the light is flashing on the unit as well. Some radios, it will just work. Some you'll have to program. So this one is not working. So we're gonna go ahead and try to program this for this radio. Pioneer, Sony, Kenwood. So I'm gonna just try some of these Kenwood codes because there's only one Kenwood code, and hopefully it will work here with this radio. So we're gonna press the learn button. There you see it starts blinking, and then we're gonna press sync and it blinks much faster. This is where you can go ahead and put in one of those codes. So for the Kenwood, it's down, and then it looks like volume down. So we're gonna hit the down button and volume down. And there it goes. So you see how it's working. Make sure that, see, this is pointing straight up in the air. But make sure this is pointing at the radio. So this, you can see the volume works. Let's try the next track. But yeah, there's the pause. Pause again. This, I believe, will go to different folders if you're on a USB. And then you have, this is a source button and also turns on and off, so you can change the source. If your radio is not listed in the manual, there is a manual learn mode, but you will need an original remote for your radio to do that. So basically you'll press the original button on the remote, then you'll press the button on this remote that will correspond to it using the buttons on the bottom here as well to get it into that mode. I'm not going to go over that right now because I don't have a way to show that, but that is an option if you have a radio with an original remote, but you need a long distance remote, and that's where the PRV comes into play. But you can see the Kenwood, it works. This Kenwood actually came with a remote. This is the 322. It's kind of old, but it came with the original Kenwood remote. So that's why I knew that it was going to accept this remote. What we need to see is if it works from a long distance. So what I'm gonna do here is I got this speaker. And let me tell you a little history about this speaker. This is a 10W650A, 8 ohms. This speaker is so old that it didn't have PRV printed on it. So back in the day, we would put stickers on them. Now, I bought 4 of these 10W650As. This was my first PRV product I ever bought, and I'm talking years before I even worked for PRV. So I don't think I have all of them anymore. I have at least this one, and I might have another one. But yeah, I had these 4 speakers were the first PRV products I ever bought. I bought 4 10W650As, and I bought 2 TW700 Ti's. We're gonna connect this to a little 3K over here, and we're gonna get this playing. We're gonna tune on the DSP real quick so that we can get the speaker playing the correct frequencies, and then we're gonna turn it up and test the distance of the remote control. We're gonna go to output 4. Since this speaker's not in here, we're gonna choose one that's similar, which in my opinion, oh no, we have the 10MR 650A, so we'll choose that one. So 120, 2200, we're gonna open this up, okay? We're gonna leave it at that. All right, we got the speaker hooked up. We got the radio on, got the remote in our hand. We're gonna go outside. Let's take a walk. Gonna pause it. The police come up on you and your car's all the way over there, you're making a video. And we're pretty far now. I don't want to blow my little speaker. So that was my first time using both these products, the Bluetooth DSP from PRV and the long distance remote control. I really think the Bluetooth DSP is awesome because you don't need to actually physically get to the DSP to tune. If you have one of those Android radios where you can download stuff, you can even put this app right on your radio on your car dashboard too. And then the remote control obviously is really cool because you can control your music from far away. You can turn it up and down, change the song. The police come, you can hit the mute button, act like it wasn't you. But yeah, let me know in the comments which one you think is gonna be better for you, whether it's the PRV Bluetooth DSP or the PRV long distance remote control.